Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to another session of MBA Shala. So today, in the previous session, I have requested students to just ask whatever they want to. So in this one, what we're gonna do is, in the previous session, obviously many students were there who were saying that we need a session on reading comprehension. So this time we have come up with a session on reading comprehension, that is inference based reading comprehension. Okay, so now before starting of the session, let me just remind you that we have already started with the new batches for CAT and non-CAT examination. When you enroll for the program, you will we will start from the scratch only, so entire basics will be covered, then eventually we'll take you to the advanced level, then test series, and then GDPI session. Now, if you have any doubt in your mind, you can also go for the free demo by IM Alumni, or simply just give us a call or WhatsApp us on this number. Now, again, one more reminder, we have started with a 45 days CAT marathon by IM Alumni again. In these marathon, obviously you will learn a lot about higher level, how to solve higher level CAT questions and how to solve them at minimum time. And there will be mock discussion, and there will be live doubt clearing, and many more. Now, starting with the session. Before that, as this and MAT and SNAP are approaching, so we have also started with a crash course that is basically specifically for those students who are targeting only in MAT and SNAP. Okay, so again, these are the overviews. You can see there will be live session which are taught by INMIMS Mumbai and SIBM Pune alumni. Now, the course content and video designed based on previous years. Like you can actually expect that these are the type of questions and pattern you can expect in your examination, and so on. For more detail, obviously, you can simply give us a call on this number, and our expert will guide you about this. Coming to the question now. Whenever we talk about solving paragraph symbol, the standard technique is that before reading the passage, you should always and always read the questions. Reason is because very first thing, when you will be reading, you'll keep reading the passage, there will be a doubt in your mind, because you are really not aware what the passage is going to talk about. But when you read the questions, you actually have an idea, okay, this might be the something topic is talking about. You will at least have a little idea whether suppose it is a science passage, or it is more like fiction, or it is more like based on any psychological thing, or it is just like abstract one. You'll get the idea of the topic, it is about related to history or what the specific topic is. Second is, sometimes explicit passages are there. It means information is directly given in the passage. All you need to see is just look for the information, so you actually save a lot of time over there. For example, one question is specifically asking you, what does the author mean by this line, and the line is given. Now you know that this line is given somewhere in the second paragraph. What you can do is, you can simply go to the passage, you see, you identify that paragraph, you read that paragraph, and you get your answer. Okay, that's why reading the question is saves a lot of time. Moreover, it also helps you in getting the right answer, because at that time, you know, for example, something about APJ Abdul Kalam is given in the question. You know that, okay, there is a question based on APJ Abdul Kalam. So as soon as you identify, you come to a point where APJ Abdul Kalam is given, you'll get alert that okay, question is there on this, I need to read this carefully. Obviously, you read the entire passage carefully, but at that time we actually know that something is given, so we get extra cautious. So hence, it will help you in identifying the answer, and it will also help you in identifying the uh, saving a lot of time. Now, third thing which usually students complain, that obviously in examination you have to keep track of the timing, as well as you have to read the passage, as well as you have to keep the information in your brain. Okay, so there are multiple things you are doing at the same time, which sometimes become difficult, because what happens when lengthy passage is there, or a little complex passage is there, at that time what happens, by the time we reach to the end of the session, reach to the end of the passage, we actually forget that what exactly was given in the passage. We actually forget this part. So what you can do is that you can actually, suppose you have read something over there, यहाँ पे you just read till here, or maybe full stop, like till here. So when you feel that, okay, this is something I have got the information, you can simply write it. Okay, and make sure that you do not waste a lot of time in writing these keywords. Maximum of time you can take to write keywords, maximum I'm talking about, okay, this is the limit, that is 30 seconds. Ideally it should be less than that only. Okay, so what you can do is you can simply write certain keywords that, okay, about this is something given, about this is given. So what happens when you are reading the questions and when you have to come back to the passage, one single hint is enough to remind everything that what you have studied so far. Okay, because it happens in the real life as well. कभी कभी होता है हमारे साथ में कि कोई इंसिडेंट होता है जो हम भूल जाते हैं, बट व्हेन एज सून एज किसी ने थोड़ा सा भी हिंट दिया हमको इमीडिएटली याद आता है कि अच्छा ठीक है ये हुआ था. सेम विल हैपन इन पैसेज एज वेल. Okay, so if you guys have any question, you can raise this you can raise your doubts or questions. I'll take it at the end of the session, and if it is some specific doubt which we need to take during the session, I'll take that too. Okay, now chalo, before starting reading the passage, we first read the questions. Now question says that which of the following best describe what the passage is trying to do. So whenever such question is there, what is the main idea of the passage, what is the author's point of view, what the passage is trying to do, such question always look for the main purpose of the passage. It means why the author has written this particular passage. That becomes your answer. Now second says early map did not put not at the top of the following reasons except. Okay, so again we have to look, as they have already highlighted, we need to keep attention on these points, that early map did not put not in the top of the following reasons. Okay, so what we have to look for, because many times these type of question becomes a little confusing कि except भी है not भी है, what exactly we need to do. So question is saying early map did not put not, उन्होंने not को क्यों नहीं रखा on the top. Now reasons are given that why they did not put not on the map. You have to identify one reason which was not exactly the reason why they did not put. So one reasons will be given in the passage itself. You have to identify that one sentence which is not given in the passage, which is not basically given as a reason that why early maps did not put not at the top. Next, question number 3. It can be inferred from the passage that European explorer like Columbus and Magellan. Now, inferred, it means direct information will not be there in the passage. Okay, certain information will be given, and on the basis of that information you need to extract the information. मैंने example पहले भी बहुत बार दिया है. So inference is when A and B were playing a match, A और B के बीच में मैच चल रहा था और A जीत गया, सिर्फ इतना ही information given है हमारे passage में, right? So what exactly you will do is inference is about B, that what is the status of the B. In that case you have to extract it. मुझे पता है A और B ही गेम खेल रहे थे और A जीत गया था, so obviously I can infer for the B कि B हारा ही होगा. Hence inference is something which you need to extract. So if you have that thing in your mind that you will be information will be there, yes, but indirectly. Okay, now we need to pay attention where these two persons are, the central idea of the passage. Fourth says, which of the following about the northern orientation of modern map is asserted in the passage? Okay, we need to pay attention on northern orientation of modern map is asserted. Now let's go back to the passage and read it. Now understanding where we'll give it a very quick reading, okay, without wasting any time. Understanding where you are in the world is a basic survival skill, which is why we, like most species, come hardwired with specialized brain areas to create cognitive maps of our surrounding, where humans are unique though. With the possible exception of honeybees, is that we try to communicate this understanding the world with others. We have a long history of doing this by drawing maps. The earliest version yet discovered were scrawled on caves wall 14,000 years ago. Human cultures have been drawing them on stone tables, papyrus, paper, and now computer screen ever since. Given such a long history of human map making, it perhaps surprising that is only within the last few hundred years that North has been constantly considering to be at the top. In fact, for much of human history, North almost never appeared at the top, according to the Jerry Broughton. Okay, so here we have some come to the point that earlier it was not at the top. North, a map historian. North was really put on the top for the simple fact that North is where darkness comes from. Okay, so there was a question related to why North is not there. So this is the part we need to pay attention on. He says West is also very unlikely to be put at the top because West is where the sun disappears. Confusingly, early Chinese map seems to buck this trend, but Rotten says even though they did not have compass at the time, it's that isn't the reason that they placed not at the top. Early Chinese compasses were actually orientated to point south, which was considered to be more desirable than deepest, darkest north. But in Chinese maps, the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always put at the top of the map, with everyone else, his loyal subject, looking up toward him. In Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it's where the wind comes from. It's good direction. North is not very good, but you are in the position of the subjection of the emperor, so you look up to him. Okay. So basically, the purpose was very subjective. It was not related to the geography at all. Now, says Broughton, given that each culture has a very different idea of who or what they should look up to, it's perhaps not surprising that there is very little consistency in which way early maps pointed. In ancient Egyptian times, the top of the world was east. The position of sunrise, early Islamic maps favored south at the top because most of the early Muslim cultures were north of Makkah. So they imagined looking up south toward its Christian map from the same era, called Mappa Mundi, put east at the top toward the Garden of Eden and with Jerusalem in the center. So, when did everyone get together and decided north was the top? It's tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus. Okay, so there was a question related to Columbus also. So, we need to pay attention on this point as well. Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, who were navigating by the North Star, but Broughton argues that these early explorers didn't think of the world like that at all. When Columbus described the world, it is in accordance with East being at the top. He says, Columbus says he's going toward paradise. So his mentality is from a medieval Mappa Mundi. We have got to remember, adds Broughton, that at the time no one knows what they are doing and where they are going. Okay, so in this passage, what we can see is that we are actually talking about map and redrawing of map, because earlier how we are deciding over the direction, people were actually coming up with the direction as per their own thought. They feel that okay, I need to put myself at the top because so that people look at me because I'm the emperor. Some feel because the wind is coming from this direction, we should mark this as this particular because I am the emperor. So actually the when we talk about this particular paragraph, it is actually focused on the earlier era of the maps. Okay, and now we are correcting it, that how eventually it got corrected. So proceeding for the question, which of the following best describe what passage is trying to do? Passage, let's see. First says it questions on explanation about how maps are designed. It corrects the misconception about the maps are designed. It critiques a methodology used to create maps. It explores some myths about map. Okay, so very first thing, we can easily eliminate two options, that is questioning, because the author was not questioning the maps at all. He was simply describing to us that see, this is what used to be happen in the earlier times. This is how people were deciding the direction. So it was not a question at all. He was not asking question that that on what basis you are drawing these maps and all. He has given the explanation itself, so there is no chance of question at all. Hence I can easily eliminate this. Now this is also something we can eliminate because anywhere he haven't criticized the methodology at all. He's simply telling us that this was the method they used, this was the belief they had in their mind, and on the basis of them they were coming up with the directions. Critique is when we are actually analyzing it and when we are criticizing something that this was wrong, that was wrong. No, they were not doing it at all. In fact, they were correcting ourselves that why these misconceptions were there. So hence this cannot be the answer. Anyone who can come up with the answer? It explores some myth about the maps. There is no mentioning of the myths. Not at all. Hence cannot be the answer. This says corrects the misconception about the ways maps are designed. Yes, by explaining, by taking the examples of earlier time. So hence the author is actually correcting us. He's not questioning, he's not criticizing, and there is no point of myths at all. Myths तो है ही नहीं कहीं पे भी हमारे पूरे passage में. Hence, this becomes my answer. Now, in this type of questions, we need not to go back to the passage. It is entirely dependent on the overall understanding of the passage. Hence, there is no need to go back to the passage. If you are doing so, it means you are wasting a lot of time. So, whenever you are practicing your RCs and everything, make sure that you try your level best. Whenever the question is about main idea or central idea, you should not go back to the passage. Now, early maps did not put north at the top for the following reason. Okay, this was the reason they did not put it on the north, because it was given somewhere in the middle. Darkness ka, if you guys remember, we have read it. North was really put on the top at the simple fact that the north is where darkness comes from. So this was the reason that they were not putting north at the top, clearly given. So this is the reason mentioned. हमें क्या identify करना है, which is not the reason, except. So early maps did not put on the north. Early maps नॉर्थ को टॉप पे नहीं रखते थे. उसके रीजंस क्या थे, ये हमें आइडेंटिफाई करना है. एंड जो रीजन नहीं था, which is not given in the passage, that will become my answer. So sometimes these questions can be a little confusing. I'm again repeating, many of the students actually understand the passage, but they don't read the question carefully. So many a time it happens that only because of not reading the question carefully, they get the wrong answer. Now, this was clearly given. South was favored by some emperors. Okay, so it was not given that South was favored by. There were various reasons given, but because there was wind, there was darkness, there was that people should go in front of me. Those were the given, but South was not given. So let's keep it as an option for now as our answer. East and South were more important for religious reason for some civilization. Okay, so religion was given. If you remember, Muslims ka given, Makkah ka, and that Makkah Mundi is also given, Mappa Mundi. So yes, something related to religion is given too. East was considered by some civilization to be more positive direction. This was again given. If you remember, East ka, it was given that they consider that East is more like, pretty good kind of good direction. So hence they were not putting on the at the top. North, reason is this. Now, so what is not given? Something related to that South was favored by the emperors. Hence, we can easily identify this as our answer. Clear? Any doubt, any question, if you guys have, please raise your doubts if you have any. Next, it can be inferred from the passage that European explorers like Columbus and Magellan set the precedent of north up maps. Okay. Second is navigate by the compass. Third says used an eastward orientation for religious reason. Okay. Navigated with the help of early maps. Okay, so when we talk about this particular question, one thing which you can identify in this one is that you need not to read the entire passage. I know that this is the place. I have introduced these people only. So my answer will be here only, between these four lines only. So I need not to pay attention on the entire passage. Okay, my question, because iske pehle we haven't spoken anything about these people. We are coming up with these only. So let's read it once more. Navigating by the North Star. But bottom argues that these early explorers didn't think of world like that at all. When Columbus described the world, it is in accordance with East being at the top. He says, Columbus says he's going toward paradise. So his mentality is from a medieval Mapamundi. We have got to remember as important at that time. No one knows that they're going to doing and where they are going. Okay. Chalo. So कौन सा relevant लगा? Let's see. Last when we read it, it says that when Columbus described the world, it is the accordance with east being at the top. So we can say that the Columbus say he's going toward paradise. So his mentality, ye pura given hai. So this clearly shows that he used an eastward orientation for religious reason. So we can say because he said that I'm going to paradise. And he was eastward orientation. So we can clearly say that he was working on this concept only. Can we say this? Right? On the basis of this, it was clearly given. Sorry. East being at the top. So orientation was east being the top. Hence, this will be the reason. There is no mentioning of compass. The north ka to koi baat hi nahi hai. With the help of early maps, they haven't used anything. They were just going where they were going without thinking anything, just keeping this in their mind. So they haven't used maps at that time because they were not working at that time in a way the entire world was working. Hence, third will be the answer. I hope this point is clear to you. If you have any question, please raise it. Now, fourth says, which one of the following about the northern orientation of modern map is asserted in the passage? Okay, so option says the biggest contributory factor was the understanding of magnetic north. The biggest contributory factor was the role of European explorers. The biggest contributory factor was the influence of Christian map. The biggest contributing factor is not stated in the passage. Okay, so we were actually talking about that in early maps, they were not considering northern orientation at all. At all. There is no mentioning. So we cannot say that which was the biggest contributor of the factor, that how northern became at the, northern came at the top. We were only discussing that how northern north direction was not there in the top. So we can easily conclude that it is not stated in the passage at all. European explorers, it was not given. Anything magnetic north ka, it is not given. They were again considering east as the holy direction. So how north came at the top, this is the earth, and how north came at the top, nothing has mentioned. We were only mentioning that why it was not at the top in the earlier time. Hence, why it is at the top, it is not stated in the passage. Hence, this becomes my answer. As simple as that. Pretty easy. I hope this one is pretty easy to you. Any question, any doubt? Come on, if you have any question, if you have any specific doubt, if you have any specific demand for the next session, you can come up with that. Okay, so I'm assuming this that everyone has got this particular passage very well and they understood it in an absolutely good manner. So I hope this thing is clear to you and you don't have any doubt in your mind. So in next session, we'll come up with one more interesting topic which can directly help you in solving your mocks and obviously will help you in your main examination. So by that time, keep watching MBA Pathshala sessions and keep practicing. Bye-bye guys. Take care.